Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, the big and furry bovine. Everything here is busy as all get out, and I know I'm a little hit and miss with these, but this is a podcast, but it's a hit and miss time of year, especially for the Guardians, which is mainly miss. We'll be talking about them, talk about the Browns, we'll be talking about the NBA, talking about all kinds of things. Bronk is joining me from England. Anybody else, and anyone else who wants to join the program, just check out the link in YouTube and click on it. You too could be a panelist on the show that nobody watches.
I know.
Don't worry.
Such an honor. It is such an honor to be here, I have to say.
Well, this time of year is the death part of,
Oh, God.
As soon as contact drills begin and they carry off Amari Cooper with a torn ACL, then there will be something to talk about. But until
or Joe Bitonio. Somebody's going to go down with a knee injury in the first snap of the day.
It happens all over the league, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it. Here's something that I found interesting right out of the box. All right.
No way.
Yeah, and quit stuffing your face with Cheetos, you Tony the Calf wannabe.
I know. I'm done with the bag. The bag's done.
Thank you. What about the Cheetos? Oh, don't.
That's done too.
Yeah, okay, there you go. ESPN, and here comes Hammer Time. Hey, Hammer Time, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm good. I just found out that the brand new pool heater they put in here at my new home doesn't work, and it's all screwed up. And fortunately, the warm weather is coming, and I think I can salvage the temperature of the pool just in the warm weather. So it's been a long day, and we had people in here doing other work and cleaning out all of the ducts and everything, all the shit you have to do with a new house.
You got rid of the ducks and the geese?
Yeah, I was thinking the ducks would like the pool to be kind of on the cooler side, but
I kind of like a pond myself, pool or a pond.
I think the pond's better
would
for
be
you.
good for me, wouldn't it?
ESPN, that big mammoth
furry
Disney-based entertainment sports network.
Yeah.
Laid off Jeff Van Gundy. Now, and that's not all.
Really?
No, they
that's not all.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
If you buy the Ginsu knives right now. Oh God, they also I'm trying to see who else they nailed. To tell you the truth, they decided get this.
Keyshawn Johnson, they Max Kellerman.
Yep.
That whole morning show's gone.
ESPN decided to cancel its national morning radio show hosted by Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Max Kellerman. So, this is huge.
And actually, Susie Colbert is the other big name.
Wow. No.
Yeah. No. She had her pride and she didn't kiss Joe Namath. But when ESPN tried to force her to go down on him, then she stood up for herself. And you got to
good for her.
Kellerman, of course, was once Stephen A. Smith's antagonist on First Take from 2016 to 2021. He first appeared in the network back in the boxing days with Al Bernstein on ESPN's boxing coverage, then was the first host of Around the Horn. So he's shit out of luck. Keyshawn Johnson was a football player and never, in my mind, much of an announcer whatsoever. Jalen Rose also out at ESPN. He was a studio analyst. Now he just needs an analyst. He was on First Take, Get Up, and then you try to get it up, and then I've taken medication for it, and I tried Flomax, and it still won't get up.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So all of these, I mean, it's really incredible. ESPN spends so much money for so many things. And, it's like, well, who's going to take over for Jeff Van Gundy? I mean, that's the main question people are asking, because, he's been around there for a long time. Here's what I think. Jeff Van Gundy wasted the talents of God, where is my head? My head is with my house, Patrick Ewing, and totally turned what could have been, with Starks and Ewing and the whole thing, something special, and instead turned it into Dullsville with games, scoring in the 90s, and as an announcer, way over the top, way too talkative, and not at all my kind of an announcer. Plus, he's funny looking, he's bald headed, and he's kind of obnoxious. So
he'd fit in right here. He'd be perfect.
I guess Fox is going to hire him next. But it's just amazing to me the big money that these networks pay, and what they're doing is they're going to turn to somebody like Richard Jefferson, who years ago I said
he's good though,
had a future as a color broadcaster. Don't take that
color.
Color,
color.
play-by-play in color. Please don't.
Color,
don't go there. The thing is that he's cheaper. And
younger, and he's gonna live longer and all that shit.
Exactly. So
at some point, one of these old farts is gonna die on the air, and we're gonna all see it happen. And they'll have to interrupt the game to cart him away somewhere.
Yeah, and poor Susie Colbert.
Yeah, everyone loves Susie.
Yeah, I know, and so that just stood out to me as The other thing that stood out to me was the Guardians lose a game in which Ramirez steals home in the 10th inning, and then they hand the ball to Clase, who gives up 2 runs, and they lose to the fucking Royals, okay? And then if you were waiting to see what happened against the Cubs, they had to invoke the mercy rule. Now, let me explain something about the mercy rule. That's a little league thing, and I could make the argument that the Guardians aren't so far above that. However, the final inning was pitched by a positional player.
Wow.
So it really was the mercy rule.
When was the last time that happened? Was it like Ron Hassey, somebody like that?
I forget who the last one was.
Hammer might know that.
Yeah, he is the king of arcane knowledge.
Or Rick May might know it.
And the only run in a 10-1 loss that the Guardians could summon was a 9th inning home run. So you had to sit and watch the whole game to watch Will Brennan hit a home run. It's like,
why are we playing the fucking Cubs anyway? Can we just stop?
Well, they're in a different league. Different league than we are.
What's the point? There's no rivalry there, and you run into the risk of seeing Bill Murray on your television. Nobody wants to see that. So,
well, I mean, 10-1, and the Cubs are 38-42, and the Guardians are 39-42. The thing that's amazing about this, it's literally just as the Guardians hit first place, because the Twins started giving it up. And instead, now, as we sit right now, the standings of Twins are back up by a half a game. And who really cares, because they're all playing really shitty baseball. And I that's all I have to say. That's all I got to say about that.
Wow. Yeah,
I could have been Forrest Gump. You know that?
Yeah.
I could have played that part. I really could have.
Could have done.
Yeah, I mean, picture him instead of as a slim Southerner who was slow, as a fat Jewish slow guy.
Could have been.
I think it needs rewriting,
except for the run-in for fun part.
Yeah, I mean, who
does that?
They could get they could get a stunt double or something for you. They would.
Yeah, that's true. At any rate, so much for that.
Hey, I think the elephant in the room, though, of the Guardians is how well Trevor Stephan has done the last 2 games that he's been in.
You know something? Trevor Stephan has been a disaster in my mind.
That's where I'm going with this. I mean, if it wasn't for Bo Naylor making an amazing play to throw the guy out at second base,
a complete pirouette.
And I mean, Stephan threw the ball. It looked like Baba Booey throwing the first pitch. I mean, it was like straight out sideways, like 50 Cent did, and whatever. I mean, it was horrible. And then
on a
he
pitch
does the
out,
same
on
thing.
a pitch out,
it was a pitch out, and then he does the same thing again and gives up the runs because there was 2-0. I mean, Beavs had a great game, and they were up 2-0. They put Stephan in, and it was kind of like, oh, great, here we go again. You know,
I can't believe that guy is in the rotation right now as far as the early back end, because he comes in and, it's like the Roach Motel, they go in, but they don't come out. We go in ahead and we come out behind with that idiot. Wow. And he's of a, doesn't have the stuff. I'll tell you something else. Xavier Curry, I mean, is a gopher ball waiting to happen.
That's a great name. That is a great name.
It's a great name, but he doesn't pitch well. I mean, he does. I don't understand what he has. He has a 92, 93 mile an hour fastball. He doesn't have like a drop off the table breaking ball. He's not a great change of pace, off speed pitcher. I don't know what it is he has, but the hitters all know what he's going to throw. And it's not good.
They don't need a trash can to figure it out.
Well, I'll tell you
boom.
How you know that you're in trouble is if Xavier Curry's pitching for you in the big leagues, period, then you don't have a bullpen. And the other thing is if you're counting on, and I'm trying to remember Eli Morgan, if you're counting on him, sometimes he's coming in the 8th inning. I mean, there's just, we don't have, like we had in the old days, shut down guys. And Clase, for all of his, they're going to throw his arm out just as sure as I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's down from 101 to 97 already.
Yeah, he's leading the league in innings, isn't he, or something like that?
It's ridiculous, and it's the same thing they've done to all of their relief pitchers, and it's I don't know, but I'm done talking about them because I only have so much time in me here before I have to get back to work here in the house. As for the Cleveland Browns, one of the great interesting stories is the defensive line. It's really interesting, Jedrick Wills on the offensive line. Yeah. He had his 5th-year option picked up, right?
Yeah.
And Grant Delpit and Donovan Peoples-Jones both are going to remain on the Browns for probably a long period of time. However, the 2 third-round picks, and, I know we don't get even our first-round picks right, but the third-round pick, you can get quality for a third-round, pick, but we don't. And you take a look at what they did. Defensive tackle Jordan Elliott was number 88 in 2020, and Jacob Phillips, the linebacker, was taken at 97 in 2020. And Elliott started all 17 games last year, and that's not impressive. He played 65% of the Browns' defensive snaps as a defensive tackle, and the team just let themselves get run over.
Yeah, you never even knew he was in the game.
No,
you say those stats, you don't even realize he was in there for that long.
Mr. Invisibility, all right? Yeah. And then that he's looking around and seeing Dalvin Tomlinson, Siaki Ika, Maurice Hurst, who's a veteran, Tristan Hill, Zadarius Smith. I mean, all these people. And if you're Elliott, you're going, Elliott. Yeah. You're saying, go home. And that's likely what's going to happen to him. Elliott it may actually make the roster because Tommy Togiai and Perrion Winfrey is, for a lack of better word, a miscreant. Yeah, SAT word. And Tommy Togiai, I don't know really why he's in the NFL. But Elliott, just because of that's what's behind him and who he's competing with for a roster spot, may actually make the roster. Jacob Phillips, however, from the guy we got from LSU, he played just 20 games in 3 seasons. Knee injury in his rookie year, a torn biceps in training camp in his second year that kept him out most of the season. And his third season ended after 7 games due to a torn pec. This guy,
no.
Yep. And the thing is that they were counting on him last year as the top Mike linebacker on the team. But eventually, Anthony Walker Jr. got the job. All right. Wasn't he the guy on Good Times?
He might have been. He had a big smile.
Yeah. Phillips had the opportunity to play again. What?
Dynamite.
Dynamite. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Walker then went down with a season-ending injury. But the thing is, Phillips had an opportunity to play again because, J.J. Walker went down with an injury. But Phillips then struggled. He didn't play well. The linebacker position's wide open again this year. How many times do we have to say this? I mean, you can blame, guys, oh, man, he's injury prone, or, oh, that guy just sucks. But the organization just doesn't. I mean, we have gaping holes at positions. I mean, take a look at these names. Walker's back again. Taki's back. Koromoa. And and all of them are coming back from injuries.
Yep.
So Walker, Taki, and Phillips somehow have to find their way into the good graces of Jim Schwartz. And the thing is that Walker is going to have trouble walking at the rate he's going.
Like we all are.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, once you get injuries, you keep getting them. You don't suddenly become healthy. That's just how life works.
Well, the other thing about this is that Andrew Berry's moves this offseason seemed like they were trying to fix mistakes that he made in the past. I mean, It's like we've got Juan Thornhill, who replaced John Johnson III. John Johnson III was a horrible influence on this team.
He was awful. He was
just bad attitude.
Awful.
All right. Now, Smith's acquisition seems to be the answer to, well, we weren't going to go with Jadeveon Clowney again for another year. That's for, not going to sit here and take 67 more of those. Tomlinson is for the lack of a better expression, a payment that they made because they undervalued the whole defensive tackle position a year ago.
Yeah, and he's not that good. I mean,
look,
he ain't that good.
They dug themselves a hole. That's what they did. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's frustrating when a team keeps making the same mistakes over and over again. And you have to believe that it's the goddamn analytics people. And you have to believe that they're saying, well, that position's not as important as, and then you give up, 200 yards rushing and your offense never gets into the game. It's the same thing year after year after year.
Yeah.
Now, here's something I really like.
Okay. That's amazing.
And now for something completely different.
Again.
Cade York now got his second year that he's going to be the kicker. And what he's learned from his whole rookie season was
how not to suck.
to focus less on the elements and more on his usual kicking techniques. And here is what he was saying. Quote, I think people hyped that up to be too much, and I'm taking responsibility, and I took too much account for it. I did well focusing on it, but I let other things fall to the wayside. What is he talking about? The weather. The whole idea of, do you know how hard it is to kick in Cleveland? Do you know that they've thrown this at every kicker? It's the way they fuck up the head of people who want to play in Cleveland or get drafted to play in Cleveland. Why don't they just build a fucking dome and get it all over with? If it's so hard to kick there, why doesn't somebody tell Phil Dawson that?
Or Adam Vinatieri when he was in New England, or
I mean, as soon as Cade York got drafted, they all came running to him, all the press. What about the rain and the snow and the wind and the sleet? And he's sitting there
mailman.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
He's delivering the mail.
Delivering mail. He's kicking field goals. Come on, folks.
I beat your punchline there.
You did, but good for you, because you're listening at least, which is more than I can say for most of the public.
And it's after 11 o'clock here too. I should be in bed. But anyway.
And it's appreciated.
Sometimes I am in bed and on Moohead at the same time. That's the Bronx After Dark episodes.
Get this. Here's what Cade York said. Literally 5 minutes after I got drafted, I got a phone call in my dad's Jeep in the parking lot of a walk-ons in Baton Rouge. And the first question was, how are you going to deal with 0 degrees and 45-mile-an-hour winds?
Yes. John Harbaugh ringing him up.
It gets into your head. Yeah. I mean, the one thing about that position is you got to drown out the noise and really technique. And I've seen professional golfers lose their ability to hit their drivers in the fairway, and their fairway, accuracy is like way down the shitter. I've seen guys who literally their long irons go to hell. They're just hooking them. I've seen guys who literally can't putt because it just gets into their head. Putting, to me, is the most similar thing in terms of compared to field goal kicking.
Well, I'll tell you what's more similar is penalty kicking in soccer, as you guys like to call it. That's even more similar. And that gets into fucking people's heads too. And when you're given a penalty kick, chances are the game is on the line when you do it. So there's a lot of similar sort of pressure, So yeah, and you got to be mentally strong enough to at least hit the target.
The conclusion that Cade York came to is, he said, quote, to be honest, the weather was never the problem. I would just focus so much on that I would almost put too much on it. And when it came to other stuff that was simple, I would brain fart. That's when stuff would go wrong. And you could see that his mechanics, we showed it pictorially on the show.
Yeah, but his foot was pointing towards like the dog pound or somewhere.
His leg and his upper body were in 2 different time zones. I mean, it was messed up. And he tweaked his workload, and that's interesting. He's actually kicking less, a trend that he's followed each year. I mean, this is, instead of, 50 to 75 kicks, prior to the offseason, he hasn't come close to attempting even 50 kicks in a single session as opposed to 75. He's trying to save his leg. I mean, the bottom line is they don't count then. Everything is upstairs, and I'll tell you something that I learned. And I've played a lot of good tennis players in my life. I've seen every kind of serve that you can imagine.
Yeah.
And it's just like pitching a baseball. There's a fluidity and a simple motion where the ball in the right hands explodes out of the pitcher's hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that, and it's, they refer to it as an easy 97, miles an hour. And you look at a kicker who looks like he's just trying to just rail the ball, and he's going to hook it. He's going to push it. If he's really scared, he's going to push it and it's going to go off right, or hook it, go off left. But again, the more you keep kicking over and over again, if you're repeating the wrong thing, it's going to screw you up. Do you remember Paul Shuey, the relief pitcher?
Oh God, I just thought about him. Yeah.
Paul Shuey, when he first came up to the league, was all over the place, and they compacted, for a lack of a better word, his windup, and he became a much more effective pitcher once they simplified his mechanics. It takes a long time when you get used to doing something a certain way, and what happens is you don't even realize that your mechanics are flying off the handle. You don't even know. And what I learned serving tennis balls, something simple like your toss on your serve. If your toss is going back, even with the top of your head, you can't make contact with it out front of your body. And the toss needs to be out in front of you, so you're naturally not only getting the torque of your legs and your hips into it, but that snap that you can get on your arm will help dictate what kind of pace that you get on the serve. Now, I was just a fat guy who played tennis, but I was a fat guy who played tennis who hit at 105-mile-an-hour serve. Now, that was measured by a radar unit. And it looked so easy when I was doing it right. Once I got hurt, my back got hurt, my knees got hurt, my toss went all over the place. It was just like, what was her name? Sabatini on the women's tour. Do you remember her, the Argentinian?
Oh, yeah. I saw her live in Wimbledon, 1985.
Yeah, I mean, she was a great player, but she actually was serving underhanded at one point in her career. She was so fucked up in the head about mechanics on her serve. This is the same thing. If you repeat the same mistakes over and over again, what you need to do is you got to clear your head. What I was doing at the time that I played competitive tennis was I was using brainwave training, because you have different brain waves, and when you're worried or you're nervous, the beta waves are
beta waves, and the alpha waves, and all that good stuff.
Yep. And the beta waves are what really make you go, ah! That's what happens. And thank you
for giving. I'm just hoping I catch a gnarly wave. That's all I can tell you.
That what?
I'm just hoping I can catch a gnarly wave, dude. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Rick May, Gabriella. I hate just referring to people by their last names. It's rude. And for Cade York, it's a simple thing. You clear your head. So when you go off, you blank out everything that's around you, and you just focus in on the mechanics. And he's got the leg. He's got, what he needs.
I got a suggestion for him. Why don't he just pretend that the football is Murray K. Cabot, and just kick it through the uprights?
Why would he want to fuck the football? And what would make him think that the football wants to blow him?
Yeah, well, there you go.
There you have it. You know how the way Major League Baseball's in trouble, by the way, when 4 starters in the All-Star game are Texas Rangers, it's like, that's all I want to say about that.
Is that Walker, Texas Ranger?
I mean, who cares? Somebody find me somebody to love. Find me somebody who cares.
Can anybody find me?
Yep.
Somebody
Who cares?
Play first base.
Loves baseball. Because I don't. James Harden has opted in. And now the 76ers are looking to trade the human statue. The guy who was once so mobile now looks like a mobile home. And honestly,
he should have to play it. He should have to play in China, you know? He should be in China or
he could score 30 points a night against, people like that. But James Harden, to me, he's been on stacked teams and never gotten it done. And, he picked up his $35.6 million option with the 76ers. And now both of them can seek a trade. Who in the hell wants James Harden at this point of his career? And it's no. Well, I can tell you this. There are teams who are actually interested, kind of.
No.
Among the teams that have an interest would be the LA Clippers and the New York Knicks. Oh, wouldn't that be beautiful?
Of course.
No.
I think the Knicks deserve him. I think that would be a good.
I mean, there is, and the other funny thing is this whole ridiculous Kyrie Irving and what's his name? The guy who always makes the All-Star game. He always has.
Oh wow,
Luka Doncic. Yeah, I mean, yeah, him and Kyrie Irving on the same team. No, and then the word is, well, they're interested in James Harden too. It's like, right.
Breaking news, by the way.
Yes,
Aroldis Chapman was just dealt to the Rangers.
The Rangers.
No.
Yep.
He's going to pick up a picnic basket. Now, this is really getting old. And Mr. Ranger. Yeah.
Mr. Ranger.
It's a Yogi Bear reference. Look it up.
Yogi Bear.
This
hey,
is what.
Hey,
boo-boo.
Hey. That's right. We're all old fat guys. Well, some of us more than others. And by the way, how are you doing, Hammer Time? How are you recovering from your surgery?
I am doing better. Tuesday will be 4 weeks from getting my foot cut open. So I've been out of the house like 4 or 5 whole times now. So
that's better than me, I think.
I got my little knee scooter and I'm tooling around, and every time getting out of the house is an adventure because there's a couple of tiny steps to get out. But doing okay. I actually went out yesterday and had a little trip around and got a chance to go out and have dinner out for the first time in a very long time. So doing okay. But
that's good.
I got probably another 2 months worth of recovery time. So and I talked to the boss, and not the wife, my work boss, not the real boss, but so, and I have lots of good benefits, so I can kind of try to recover on my own schedule. So it's good.
Now, here's one of the funniest things. Draymond Green was shopping himself, right? Because his mother told him he had to shop around. Well, he's going to work out a deal with the Golden State Warriors again, because where else could he go? And it was funny. You know what team was interested in him?
The Pistons.
No, yeah, that would be one. Yeah. No, the Sacramento Kings. I mean, this is where players go to die.
Yes.
You know who re-signed with them? Harrison. Did you forget about me, Barnes?
Oh, wow.
Everybody forgot about him. That's because he's dying and rotting. His flesh is rotting in Sacramento. That's what happens. Now, the other thing that was interesting, the Sixers did not sign guard Tyrese Maxey to an extension. However, he's going to be a big part of what they're doing later on down the road. They're trying to preserve cap space for 2024 And so they've told him, sit tight, young man. You're in our plan. So the Brooklyn Nets are trading the one and only Joe Harris and 2 second-round picks to the Detroit Pistons. It's like, oh, this is how you know your career is like coming to an absolute end. You know, the only thing good about playing for the Pistons is the Arabic food you can get in Dearborn. I mean, really.
They got good conies, too.
They do. They do. That's absolutely true. You can find a Greek guy who owns a restaurant, who's fucking all of his waitresses, who serves a mean coney dog.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that's true. I've never seen so many Coney Island restaurants in my life.
But do they have Indian restaurants serving Xavier curry? Because that sounds really good.
That was
Wow.
good. That was there you go.
That one.
I've been saving that for like 20 minutes, you know.
Oh, and I walked right into it by mentioning Dearborn.
Wow.
I couldn't see a hammer, but your eyes must have lit up and said, my time has come.
It's when they throw you that pitch right down the middle and
Yeah.
you're going, yes. And
That's
you're
like
looking
when,
dead red fastball. Here we
Yep.
go, baby. Here we go.
That's like when Bartolo Colon hit his home run. Yeah.
You just close your eyes and swing, and sometimes that happens. Did you see Josh Bell's 462-foot home run?
No.
Oh, my God, against Kansas City. 462, and it went into the second fountain area.
Oh, yeah, it was a heck of a
It was
shot.
like way back there, you know? And it was really funny what he said after the game. He goes, I just want to say that unlike Jim Thome, I did it without steroids. But no, he didn't say that. I made that up, but it is kind of clever. So there isn't a strong market for James Harden right now, according to Brian Windhurst. And I would believe Windy when he says, the Sixers were positioning themselves to try to force him into a disadvantaged position, so he elected to opt into his contract, Windy said. The cooperation, the good feelings, the moving together between Daryl Morey and James Harden that was there a year ago is now opposite sides today. So, it's not like anybody is really all that interested in a guy with a bad attitude who can't move anymore. I mean, let's be real about this. It's something. I don't know what it is.
Just sounds like me. Bad attitude.
Well, yeah, nobody's offering us contracts.
No one's offering me anything.
And finally, I'm going to finish up the program because I got to get back to work. I mean, as long as there's daylight, there's work to be done. The Cavs made a trio, that's 3, of roster moves ahead of NBA free agency.
Teddy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they went ahead and gave him the $6.7 million contract, and it makes me want to vomit. I mean, do you know how much Ritalin he can buy with that? And it still won't calm him down on the court. And then a 2-way qualifying offer to Isaiah Mobley to appease his brother. And then they finally said to Dylan Windler, you're made of matchsticks. Please leave.
Go away now.
You're a toothpick man. Please go someplace, just not here. And that is the exciting stuff.
Wow.
And this is what will tell you how bad it is for the Cavaliers.
How bad is it? Just how bad?
When you're sitting there saying, I'd get excited. This is Cavalier fans. I'd get excited if we got Max Strus from the Heat. That sounds like some strain of bacteria. Max Strus. I don't want a guy who hits 10 in a row in one game and then misses his next 18. No, thank you. Wow. I don't want Dante DiVincenzo. I want Seth Curry. The only thing you can say about Seth Curry is that he's the brother of Steph Curry, but he looks like he was fathered by Doc Rivers. I mean, he's a mud of a man. I don't want him.
Is he any relation to Xavier Curry?
I just was wondering if you could get that at the same Indian restaurant where we're getting our Xavier.
Yep. Yeah. And it's funny. There was a place in New York City that was an Indian restaurant that had a professional boxing theme, and their big thing was the Donald Curry. So,
wow.
yeah, we how many curries? The wrestling one was Flying Fred Curry.
Flying Fred Curry.
Yeah. God. This is
He was
pathetic.
great. He had that drop kick, didn't he? Wasn't that his thing?
Yeah, that's exactly right. He was the son of Wild Bull Curry, which uses old meat.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's really dating us there, man.
Yeah, Wild Bull Curry from Big Time Wrestling back when I was a kid. Yeah, he was a heel in the worst kind of way. Flying Fred was a face, and Flying Fred, literally did the flying acts like Lenny Poffo would do later. He's one of those guys. But Jetty Osman, averaged 8.7 points this past season while shooting 45% from the field and 37 from three. But the problem with Jetty Osman is every time he gets up to about 37% from 3-point range, the next year he's back at 32. And you can take a look at his record.
Wow.
It's really all over the board. But the one consistency is he can't play defense, and he's in the wrong place every time defensively. So
doesn't he really belong in Utah?
Just to be stranded and left alone? I mean, what do you mean?
No, he's an Osman, isn't he?
Oh, I get it. Oh God.
This is Friday after all, isn't it?
And I love what they've made up a name for Derek Windler, right?
Ooh. Windler's List.
Oh, good. He was on the cut list. Yep. They refer to him as the theoretical sharpshooter. It's like, that's not complimentary. Breaking news from Rick May. The Warriors have wasted $25 million a year on Draymond Green. I mean,
oh my God.
I mean, what for?
I have no idea.
He can kick someone in the balls. That's what for.
Wow.
That's crazy stuff.
What's it like in Ohio right now? Because
in what respect? I mean, weather-wise?
Damn hot.
Is it damn hot?
It is warm here. It is. We had a warm day today. We really did. It was about 84 up here. Wow. What was it down in Columbus?
It was a little higher, like 89 or so for some reason. I guess you guys got the cold front off the lake or something. along with the wildfire stuff. But our weather is getting better though, because the wildfire supposedly it's supposed to rain all weekend. So,
you know how bad it was?
How bad was it?
How bad
all that
was
smoke
it?
from Canada. I mean, I took rocks out. We went to a place called Kintaro. It's an all-you-can-eat sushi place, right?
Yeah, it sounds Japanese. That
wait,
yeah.
A wah. So yeah, I did that with that when I walked in, and they were all pissed off at me.
Did you go?
I don't know why. So this place, it's really interesting. It's all-you-can-eat sushi or all-you-can-eat hot pot. Have you ever done the hot pot thing?
Yeah, we have a couple of really good ones here in Columbus.
Yeah, I did it when I was 3 years old. My mother said, "You're never supposed to touch the stove."
Wow.
Yeah. But at any rate, that was, so we go out there and, and she got out and she was walking toward the restaurant and I lost her. It's like,
lost her.
Is that you? Away. Rox, is that you? I mean, it was so hazy out there.
How hazy was it?
I mean, that Paul Simon would write another song about it.
Oh, Hazy Shade of Winter.
Thank you. I mean, it was, I mean, it was unbelievable. Now it's cleared out here.
More
now.
breaking news, by the way.
Oh, yes.
The Cavaliers and forward George Niang agree on a 3-year, $26 million contract, according to Wojnarowski.
Well, Woj, take it to the bank.
And Karis LeVert just agreed to a 2-year, $32 million contract.
They had to do that.
Yeah.
They had no choice. There's nowhere else to go. Preferably, he would be a 6-man scorer off the bench. We'll see what happens with that. Now, Niang, did he play for Washington? Oh, no, he was the Jazz. He was with the Jazz, and he was with Philadelphia, maybe? Who was he with? He's been, this is the guy I'm thinking about. He played for the Sixers. So he's 30 years old, and what has he accomplished?
Yeah, I know.
He's a good-looking fella. He could probably model after he gets out of this.
I mean, the reason they got him in 21-22, he played about 23 minutes a game, but he only shoots 43% from the field, but 40% from three. Yeah, he's a 3 and no D guy. He's
just a career 3-point guy. I mean, good gosh, other than when he first started, he's been 40% for the last 5 years in a row.
That's right. And the whole key, and the problem is for a guy like this, is that you got to worry at 30 if he starts losing his legs, his jump shot will go. But we have such scoring potential in our backcourt, and that's where all of the double teaming and all of that goes on. We have had so many wide open corner threes and wing 3 shots, but we haven't had the shooters to make them. A guy like this could, and again, in his career, he's averaging about 16 minutes a night. And, with Cleveland, I would not be surprised to see him maybe 18, 19 minutes on the floor. But, you put him on the floor in a time where, they're going to cheat trying to double team Donovan Mitchell, whoever's got the hot hand, and leave him wide open. And we don't have anybody like that who for his career has played 383 games and averaged 40.3% from behind the arc.
Yeah. And
6'7" guy.
6'7". He's not tiny. Right. So,
he's a wing. He's a legitimate wing.
It's kind of the guy we've been looking for a while. So
let's hope that it will work.
Of course, with our luck, he'll have an ACL or a freaking Achilles injury during training camp or some shit like that.
No, he'll hit his head in the rim or something.
God only knows. Or he'll get lost underneath the American flag before the football game begins. Well, I'm finished. I'm done with what I want to do. And I'm happy that my equipment is working. I'm happy that Bronk and Hammer Time join me. I'm happy that I'm very happy to be in Ohio. It's just that right now it's just a lot of work. And I knew it was going to be that way. But, man, it all comes down in a hurry. And we have workmen coming in every other day to fix something that isn't quite right. I have the only range hood that instead of sucking the air out, blows it back into the kitchen. I mean, you think that was misinstalled? God
they
almighty.
Probably never turned it on.
No, I mean, it's like there are 2 ovens in the house, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And that's the one that wasn't used. It's like these people who own the house, they knew what was fucked up. They just broke the law basically, and and didn't say, I don't know. They pretended like they didn't know what it was.
Wow.
So so it keeps us busy, but we're having a good time, and we're getting out when we can. And this weekend will be a good opportunity for us to get out and do.
So the smoke that's all the air, can you put like a bit of pork outside and it'll get all smoky then? Or you don't have to
No,
use your smoker.
unfortunately, it's not like a pellet grill.
Okay.
And yeah,
That's what I was asking. That's what I was wondering about. Hey,
yeah.
Just think of your average August day, and then just make it darker. It just
wow.
Yeah, it was really weird. It was just like, you know what it was like? It was like watching a science fiction movie that was using the Gaussian blur on the lens.
Wow.
The old Vaseline on the lens effect. That's kind of what we had. It was weird.
We need the sign off from Dick Goddard from Ohio Land, and the Woolly Bears.
And in the weather, I can't find the fucking Woolly Bears because of this haze. Jimi Hendrix once sang about it, but it was purple. Ours is not purple, it's smoke. It's a carcinogen, and it will fucking kill you. Yeah, I mean, that was what Dick Goddard would say, It's like, and the buzzards are choking their way into Hinckley. Yeah, God only knows. No. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And thanks for being patient with my no-shows, some of these podcasts. It's very unusual for me to miss shows, but this is a circumstance. If I don't get this stuff done now, it ain't never going to get done. Thanks, Hammer Time. Thanks, Bronk. Thanks to everybody. And until Monday, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.